Justin is continuing his patron request for me to review the Home Alone movies, and now we're at the first one to be made for television rather than theaters, Home Alone 4. This is also the first film in the series to not have any involvement from John Hughes. This premiered on ABC as part of the Wonderful World of Disney in 2002, so Disney had a previous association with the franchise long before they bought 20th Century Fox. For some reason, IMDb considers this a television episode rather than its own movie, which is odd. Anyway, after Home Alone 3 focused on entirely new characters, this film brings back the McCallisters. Well, sort of, as everyone has been recast. This is supposed to be set after the events of the first two movies, but I never once believed these were the same characters. For example, Kevin and Buzz are much younger in the sequel. While Macaulay Culkin was around 11 years old when he acted in Home Alone 2, Mike Weinberg, the new Kevin, was about 9 during production of this movie. We also have Marv, played by Fred Stewart here, but Harry is absent. They already recast everyone else, so it's strange they decided to draw the line at finding someone to replace Joe Pesci. Not that it matters, because Marv acts a lot more like Harry in Home Alone 4. He even explains they got fed up with Harry always screwing up their robberies. Marv has always struck me as being very loyal to his friend and having his back, while Harry was the one often fed up with his partner in crime stupidity. Instead, Marv is paired up with a wife played by Missy Powell, and now has moved up to plotting to kidnap a royal prince who is coming to stay at the house of McCallister's new girlfriend. That's right, the McCallisters got a divorce, for reasons mostly unexplained. Did they blame each other for forgetting Kevin twice? The movie only does this to contrive some scenario for Kevin to wind up in a high-tech smart house. That setting in a smart house has potential to take the Home Alone concept someplace new, but it sadly does not take full advantage of it. By the way, the title of Home Alone 4 is a complete lie, because Kevin is never in a house alone in this movie. When he's at the smart house, his father, the father's girlfriend, the maid, or the butler is usually there, or there's a big fancy party happening in the next room. The sequel is really affected by having to work on a television budget. Despite being set at Christmas like the first two, there's no holiday magic felt at any point. Even the musical score is cheap and rinky-dink. This is a franchise that had music composed by John Williams, who helped make the scenes bigger than life with his compositions. I also thought Nick Lenny Smith did a really good job with his spy movie influenced score in Home Alone 3. The music in Home Alone 4 is a serious downgrade. Another problem with this installment comes from the traps. First, they are extremely underwhelming and not all that funny. You get the standard bumps to the head and hits on the groin area, along with a spinning bookcase and Kevin editing recordings of Mark's voice to trick his wife. None of it is amusing. Secondly, there are surprisingly few traps. This is the main hallmark of this series, and Home Alone 4 fails to deliver on that. I've been dogging on this film a lot, but I did find there to be one standout in it. Eric Avari, who most will recognize from his role in The Mummy, plays the butler, and the few bits of amusement I got from the film came from him, as he successfully depicts his continued annoyance at Kevin. There's not that much of the character beyond Kevin suspecting him being in cahoots with the bandits, but he's the only person this movie gives something resembling a decent performance. Fred Stewart and Missy Powell also try to give it their all, but they're hamstrung by the material handed to them, which does not provide them with anything funny to say or do. In the end, I found Home Alone 4 to be mostly just boring. Almost none of the humor lands, Kevin has little in the way of personality, and they should have made these new characters instead of making us believe these are the same McCallisters and Wed Bandit we were already familiar with. I do want to mention the film's director, Rod Daniel. He was a film and television director who received multiple Emmy nominations for his work on the sitcom WKRP in Cincinnati, and then made the jump to features with movies like Teen Wolf, Like Father Like Son, Beethoven II, and a couple of Disney Channel original movies. Home Alone 4 wound up his last movie, as he said he stopped receiving offers after it, and sadly he was also diagnosed with Parkinson's the same year. He died in 2016, and in an interview he gave 5 years earlier, he revealed he did not look back fondly on his filmography. However, just because he spent much of his career making silly comedies does not mean his directing output did not hold value. People look up to or aspire to be a Scorsese or Spielberg, but there's nothing wrong with being a director like Rod Daniel, and he did not deserve to have his phone suddenly stop ringing. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of Home Alone 4, and thank you for the request, Justin.